Hey guys, it's Kaylee. I am back with another what sold from last week video. I'm under the AC right now and it feels so good because I'm in the middle of condensing all of these rows. But even condensing does not take importance over these what sold videos. I know you guys love them. So I'm here with another what sold video. We're going to talk about my sales from last week and how I'm kind of tracking my average sale price, as well as show you some of those higher dollar items and some bread and butter. That way you guys know what to look for while you're at your thrift store and hopefully can flip online for a profit. We're going to dive right in. Everything that you see here on the screen happened between July 2nd through the 8th. I cannot believe we are this far through the year already. I feel like time has flown by. I feel like that happens every year. It gets worse and worse. Let me know how you feel about it down below. But for me, this year has flown and I just can't believe we're moving towards Q4. So in this date range, in total, I sold 205 items for a gross item sale total of $5,653.59. That number is less anything that I received for shipping. So that's just the item sales. And then my average sale price for every item was $27.58, and this number has started going up. If you guys don't know, our initiative right now at the office is to increase our average item sale price. Couple reasons for that. One of the main ones being, if you can increase your average sale price, you decrease the amount of time spent listing those items. So instead of listing two $25 items, I can just list one $50 item and it takes about half the workload. Sounds simple in theory. It never works out exactly that way in that simple math, but that's essentially what we are trying to do. And so I've been loving tracking every single week and sometimes every day. I'm even looking at our orders and just seeing what's going out to keep track of that. So this number has significantly gone up, which is good. We are at 27.58. I want to see that number get back to 35 and 40 between those numbers. So that is the plan. And I think we are headed there. We've been thrifting some really great stuff and leaving behind some of the lower price items and getting to more places to find those higher dollar items. And at first I thought it would be impossible, but it's not. So it's been going good. And then my estimated gross profit for last week, which is like everything involving the sale, fees, shipping costs, cost of goods, all that stuff, ended up being a gross estimated profit of about $3,700. And so I'm really happy with that, especially for summer slowdown. I do expect for the next month and a half probably to be very, very slow. It has been for the last month. We're in traditionally my slowest months. I don't know about for you guys, but for me, every year, June and July, and then a little bit of August until back to school season starts is typically my slowest. And usually, honestly, like sales almost go in half. But we try to combat that with listing more. And we're still doing that this year, but I have seen a bigger dip in sales this summer. So if you guys are experiencing the same thing, just know that it's happening to a lot of people, especially clothing resellers. I think hard goods might be doing a little bit better. All right, let's jump into these item sales. So the first one is a really awesome sale. I got this scarf from Trash Pandas Wholesale, which is one of my wholesalers. She is on Instagram under Trash Pandas Wholesale if you want to look her up and possibly apply to be somebody she sources for. But she's been with me for a while, and this was one of the amazing items she sent us recently. I paid just over $5 for it. It is a Burberry London cashmere scarf. And this was actually my cover photo of the tag. I've learned a little bit about certain different brands lately and what really sells an item. So you have a different customer base for different brands and different things in specific brands that people are looking for. And so some cover photos or some keywords might be better for certain items. And in this case, I thought that this was a better cover photo because Burberry customers run the risk a lot of authenticity. And so if you can show a cover photo in the beginning that proves a little bit of authenticity, you're going to eliminate any doubt they have, and they're more likely to pick yours. So I don't know, I've just been thinking about that a lot lately. And although this tag does not 100% prove authenticity, it does ease some of concern. And so people are more likely to click in it. So be thinking about that as you guys are listing items. Think about your customer base. Don't let it like completely slow you down in your listing process, but something to think about and to ponder. It's been, I've had a lot of revelations on that recently. Just a lot of light bulb moments that have hit for some of the brands that we sell as far as cover photos and keywords lately. So this is their classic colorway and check. And so it was all around a really, really great sale. Plus it was 100% cashmere. Like, you can't beat that. So like I said, I paid just over $5 for it. We listed it for around $100. It sold very quickly on an offer to watcher, which is 15% off that I send to all watchers in bulk on eBay. And it sold for $84.90. So really great sale on that. Super happy with those profits, especially with it being from wholesale. This is also from wholesale. This is Anisio, which seems to be a linen brand, and these like specialty linen brands perform really well in spring and summer, which we are in the middle of. This one's also got a really interesting silhouette to it. It's kind of drapey. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's black, but it's drapey, very login looky, almost asymmetrical hem, and so it just had a lot of interesting things going for it. Definitely one that the login look community would appreciate, plus it was linen. I paid just over $5 for this, and we listed it for $69.93. It did take a few months to sell, but it did sell for our full asking price, and I thought that was a really good return on investment. Here's another brand that has been performing really well for us, and I just learned about it because I received it in wholesale. I don't think that this brand is around me very much, but where some of my wholesalers live, they have more access to this brand. And so if you're somebody living in that area, I wanted to show this to you because it's definitely a bolo. The brand is Zarina, and if you're just listening and you're not watching, that's spelled Xirena, and it's a very simple tag. I don't think they always have red lettering. I don't know, I'm not familiar enough, but it's just a very simple tag with a brand on it, one that you might skip over. I have sold a few of their dresses now, and really great returns on investment from this brand so far, and it seems to have a really good following. This is a gauzy kind of tiered dress. A lot of their stuff so far, the ones that I've seen, have been very like minimalistic. So again, just something you might pass on if you didn't know to look for it. So Zarena's been a great one. I paid just over $5 for this. We listed it for around $70, and it sold very quickly on an offer to watcher for $59.40. Next up is a blazer. I've been selling a lot of both men's and women's blazers. In the men's blazers right now, the stuff that's selling well are linen blazers or linen blend blazers. This is a silk wool linen blazer. It is by Brooks Brothers. It is an older style. This is their line 346, and I just have really good luck in general selling Brooks Brothers blazers, but in combination with the lighter material that people are looking for right now, I knew that this was going to sell quickly. I paid between $4 and $5 for this. We listed for $49.88. It sold very quickly for our full asking price. Next up is not typical for us, but every now and then I do pick up linens. I usually do go really quickly through the linens department. when I'm at thrift stores, because there can be some really great bolos as far as like curtains, quilts, throws, things like that. This is a Nautica patchwork quilt, which Nautica isn't typically something I'd think of when I think about searching for linen bolos, but this pattern drew me to it just because of the patchwork. It was in really great condition. I paid $6.99. I kind of had to make up a price because I was the only one with the like patchwork pattern. So I originally listed this for around $60. It did sit. We've since dropped the price, and I ended up accepting an offer of $40, which I'm personally really happy with. I could have probably waited longer and not dropped the price and gotten my full asking price, but I'm in the business of moving items, so that is what we did. But if you are a clothing reseller and you don't go to the linen section, it's shipping out. Linens are pretty similar to clothing because you can fold them and you don't really have to worry about them getting damaged for the most part. The only thing you have to be cautious of is how big the item is, and is it going to fit within your priority mail or now your ground advantage dimensions. And then considering that while you're listing, because you're going to want to make sure to put those dimensions in before you hit list. That way your buyer pays those extra dimensions. So this was an all-around great sale. I personally love selling quilts, throws, and things like that. I think they're super easy and they usually bring a really great profit. Next up is an item also from wholesale. I paid just over $5 for this. It is a pajama set, and I hadn't heard of this brand before either. Lufthansa. Trying to find the brand tag for you, but I'm struggling. But this item, this brand in pajamas performs extremely well. Yeah, I guess I don't have a close-up of that. I'm sorry. But this Lufthansa is like, I think one that they give out on first class flights is, I think, what I've learned from this. But anyways, whether you know that or not, has a great sell-through rate. And I got this pajama set that came in a little bag. It sold extremely quickly, and I was talking with a buyer, and apparently like this pajama set has a really great following and people love buying them. So thought I would share that with you. I paid just over $5 for the set. We listed for around $50. It sold on an offer to watcher for $42.40, and this one did sell pretty lightning fast. Next up is Nike. I don't show a lot of Nike, but we do sell quite a bit of Nike. By no means did we pick up everything, but joggers, especially in the men's department, perform extremely well. And any of their like super new pieces, which this one did seem to be, it had that like new thick tech fleece feeling that they're making in all of their Nike stuff now. So anything Nike that you feel super high quality, fabric wise, I would definitely look it up. So these were called the Nike Men's Tech Fleece Washed Joggers, and they were a nice neutral color in really great condition. And I looked up that style and listed high because of that. We paid $7.99 for these. We listed for $50. It sold on an offer to watcher for $40. This is a menswear brand that I like picking up. It is John Varvatos. Depending on what time of the year it is and what you have, it's going to do better or worse. But outerwear in this brand is definitely one to look for. So this is a John Varvatos zip hoodie jacket. And we picked this up in wholesale for a little over $5, listed for $45, and it sold on an offer for $38.15. But definitely a menswear brand I'd keep your eye out for. Next up, this brand does really well during spring and summer, although I probably would pick it up like all year round just because of its value, but it is Jam's World. And depending on if you have a modern one, a vintage one, what print you have, what size, it really fluctuates in value. So this one was called the Genesis Tunic Top. I had it in a size extra small. Apparently this was a little bit more rare than some of the other pieces because even in a size extra small, we still listed it pretty high. Got this in wholesale as well, paid just over $5 for it, and we sold it for our full asking price of $44.93. It did take a couple of months to sell, but all around good return on investment. Next up is a golf wear women's brand that performs really well. It is Jamie Saddock. This is Sunsense by Jamie Saddock, but any of her lines or just her regular brand Jamie Saddock performs well for me. I love picking up her stuff. But the Sunsense one seems to be like really top notch. Maybe it's one of their newer lines, I don't know, but it's always sold super quickly. I paid $6.99 for this. It is a zip pullover, and it's kind of like I don't know, like a very lightweight, like protect you from the sun and the wind kind of thing, even though it is a longer sleeve. This one was also a size XXL, so that really helped to increase value. Like I said, I paid $6.99. We listed for around $40, and it did sell for our full asking price, and it was a super quick flip. This one's more of a factor stacking one, and give me just a second here. This one's more of a factor stacking one. Sorry, I had to pull up my cost of goods info on this. And we paid $4 for it. So the factors in this one are that it is a multicolor dress. It is floral. Dress is a more substantial piece. The material is silk, and it is a midi length, so longer length. So for all of those reasons, regardless of brand, we got this. Jones New York is definitely not a brand that I pick up very often. I would say maybe only a couple times a year, and it's always like a heavily factor stacked piece. But we thought that this was pretty good, so we got it. Like I said, we paid $4 for it. We listed for around $40. It sold on an offer to watcher very quickly for $33.90, which I thought was pretty good for a factor stacking piece. Next up is a brand that I love finding, but we don't find it very often. It is Bird Dogs, and so their tag inside, the only way you'll know it's Bird Dogs is because it has the website right here. Otherwise, you're just looking at like their little phrase. They do have a logo sometimes on the back. This one did. These are a pair of athletic shorts, size XXL. If you find some other things by Bird Dogs, like their pants, they perform even better. I paid $4.99 for this. We sold it for our full asking price of around $35. Next up is a brand that has been flying off the shelves for me, especially in pull-on linen pants, and especially in the warmer season. So once we start moving towards fall and winter, I'll probably slow down a little bit on this brand, depending on what factors are at play, because their linen pieces tend to sit for me in the colder months, but I will factor maybe getting them and being okay with sitting on them. So this is a flax women's wide leg pant in a size large, and we usually list these for around $40 to $45. I listed this one for around $40. We paid $2.99 for it. It sold on an offer to watcher for about $34. Next up, I want to talk about t-shirts a little bit. I talk about them here and there, but t-shirts are actually a big part of my business. We love finding vintage t-shirts. Lately, between myself and my boyfriend, who sometimes thrifts with me, he's like obsessed with finding vintage t-shirts, and I've taught him pretty well so far because he has found several like multi-$100 items recently. And so vintage t-shirts can be a fantastic use of your time. They're, because they're vintage, they're harder to find, but when you do find one, it's like totally worth it. So I found a lot of those lately, and it has reinvigorated my love for t-shirts. T-shirts are also just so simple to list. There's only a few drop downs, and it's super helpful. With that in mind, I wanted to share this sale with you because even though it's not like super vintage, it is Y2K era. So anything in the 2000s now are now starting to be considered vintage, and some of those things are valuable. So as time goes on, so does your range of vintage items and more things becoming vintage. Sad to think about, but also true, and you need to know it as a reseller. So some of the Y2K t-shirts are performing really well, and even still, sometimes modern t-shirts can perform good as well if you've got the right subject matter, and if not everybody has it. So I have a couple t-shirt sales that I wanted to share with you in case you are somebody wanting to get into that game. It doesn't always have to be like an 80s or a 90s t-shirt. There are other things you can find as well. So this one is an Anvil Kill Switch Engage, which is a band t-shirt, and it is a 2004 one. And this one had some really cool graphics, and you can see the dating of the 2004 down here. All around pretty cool t-shirt. Kind of wanted to keep it for myself, but was more wanting the money, so we listed it. But I paid $4.99 for this, and we listed it for around $35. It sold for an offer to watcher for around $30. And again, just, you know, not a super vintage t-shirt, but one that can consistently bring you $35 to $40 and are super easy to list. So be on the lookout for some of the more modern band tees, but you obviously want to do your research. Next up is one, I actually showed this in a Thrift With Me video, and we contemplated whether we were going to get this or not because it is a modern Playboy shirt, and I had never seen anything like it though. It was a really unique graphic. Come to find out, this was not rare, but essentially a limited edition line by PacSun. And from what I could tell, these ones with these graphics and this vibe, I guess, were selling really well. So we got it, and we paid $4.49 for it, listed it for around $35. It sold for a full asking price and very quickly, and this was a modern t-shirt by PacSun. So a lot of factors at play there, but if you can really narrow in on what t-shirts do well, they can be a great category to be in because even though they might be men's, women still pick up men's t-shirts too. So they're very flexible in a way, and they're super, super easy to list once you figure it out. So I thought I would share a couple of those modern t-shirt sales with you. Next up is a brand that I just learned about called Rip Skirt. I guess I didn't just learn about it. I knew about it, but I had kind of forgotten about it because I never find them. And then all of a sudden I was doing like my comp research before I go sourcing on skirts and saw that a bunch of these Rip Skirts were selling. So then it was in my head when I went thrifting, and lo and behold, I find one that day. So pretty cool. But these Rip Skirts do really well just to feel them, and even to sometimes just look at them. They don't look like anything super special. I'm not typically someone who looks for short skirts, so I definitely would have passed on this had I not been thinking about the Rip Skirts. They also make longer length skirts as well. But this is definitely a huge bolo. They have a very, very high sell-through rate. This one was a wrap skirt in a size XXL, and it sold for a full asking price of $35. We paid $4.99 for it. And yeah, pretty much anything in this brand I think is going to sell well for you. Next up is a pair of jeans I thought I would mention. This is a brand I don't get very often. However, it does perform well typically in the men's department. It is Citizens of Humanity. And these are the Bowery jeans, which are a pair of men's jeans. And yeah, I thought I would share it because I usually pass on this brand, but their men's stuff can perform well. And if you're somebody that comes across them, I wanted you to be aware of them. We paid $3.99 for these, listed for $27.88, so $28. They did sell for our full asking price. More of a bread and butter, but definitely worth looking for due to the sell-through rate. All right, I love showing Old Navy in thrift hauls and in what sold videos because everybody always freaks out and they're like, why do you pick up Old Navy? It doesn't sell for anything. But that's not true. There's actually a few things in Old Navy that perform well, and plus size, longer length stuff in dresses and skirts are one of those things. Now this is a 3X multicolored tiered floral skirt that I found new with tags. So that definitely helped to increase value. Had I not found it new with tags, I probably still would have gotten it and just listed it for lower. But because the new with tags, I actually paid up for this. I paid $6.99. We listed for around $30 and it sold for about $25 on an offer. And this stuff flips super quick, so it's really great bread and butter. And the plus size maxi dresses or midi length dresses also perform extremely well. Next, moving on over to some of the Poshmark sales. Poshmark sales were a lot better this week because we didn't do closet clear out this week. So we had a lot more full price sales, and I pulled just a few of those to show you. This one is a really great one. This is something I also got in wholesale. It is Vivian Tam, and I am not familiar with this brand, but they have a really great following and pretty identifiable as far as tops go. You know, it's super vibrant, kind of artsy, and has a really good following, and is going for a lot of money. So I paid just under $6 for this. We listed it, I think, for like $85 on Poshmark. Very quickly accepted an offer of $72. And yeah, this one flipped really quickly. I was surprised. So I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for Vivian Tam in the future. This would have been something I would have passed on had I not been getting wholesale. Next up, another example of blazers that we're picking up. This is a women's blazer. Pretty much anything J. Crew women's blazers, in my opinion, flip really quickly for me. This one was called the Regent Blazer, which has a really good following. We paid just under $6 for this one and listed it for around $55 on Poshmark. I then accepted an offer for $44, which is around what I wanted to get anyways. Was about $45. So really happy with that. It was also a super quick flip, but yeah, J. Crew blazers, men's, women's, very few times have I not picked them up, even in smaller sizes, because they just perform really well. Here is another J. Crew blazer. This one we have been sitting on for a little bit. I think we originally priced it slightly too high, or maybe it's just not the right season because it's velvet, but it still sold for really good money. I paid $4.99 for this. It is a schoolboy blazer, which is one of their most popular blazers. Size 8, black and velvet. Still sold for great money. It ended up selling for $41 on Poshmark, and I am super happy with that. I think if I would have waited towards fall and winter when velvet is more popular, I probably could have gotten closer to $60. But like I've said in the past and even in this video, we're trying to move items, so out the door it goes. Next up is kind of a category you probably want to look for, especially as we move into fall and winter, and they are brands that specialize in merino wool base layers. Very specific category, but there's a few of them that do it. Smart Wool would be one of them, and those base layers, yeah, they just do really, really well. So this one is called Wool X, and this is newer to me. So Wool X, it is a merino wool women's short sleeve top, and essentially people use these as layering pieces, and usually they are so these brands are usually so, what I want to say, they basic looking. Like, would you have come across a black t-shirt like this and thought to look at it? Probably not. So they're very easy to pass over, but if you see any kind of t-shirt that is merino wool-esque, definitely worth looking into, and Wool X is definitely a brand I'll be looking for in the future. So I paid $4.99 for it. We listed it for around $50 on Poshmark. I believe this one got sent an offer through Poshmark. I do have Poshmark settings turned on to automatically send offers to watchers. I think it's 5 minutes after someone has liked the item and I'm able to capture sales. So I think that's what this was from. So I paid $4.99. It sold for $42 on Poshmark, which is exactly where I wanted to sell this for. This is a North Face item, another example of one I let go for a little bit less but could have held out for. I originally paid $12.99 for this, so quite a bit. but knowing that it's probably going to sell quickly even in spring and summer. So this is an Apex soft shell jacket by North Face. I've really slowed down on the North Face pieces, particularly the fleece jackets. Really, it's got to be something a little bit more substantial for me to pick it up now, just because the brand has kind of gone downhill. But this was definitely a more substantial jacket. I looked up the style information for it and listed accordingly. Dropped the price a little bit because we are in warmer weather, and it sold very quickly at $46. So 13 into 46. With it being a quick flip, I'm pretty happy with that. This is another item that sat for a while for me. I don't think I priced too high, but definitely the sell-through rate was not there to flip it in 3 months, like we try to do with most of our pieces. But if you're willing to wait on it, you could end up getting way more than what I got. I just wanted a quick sale. So this is a vintage Lilly Pulitzer dress, or it's possibly a house coat. I couldn't tell which one was which, so we put both in there, but I thought it could be either way. But some of the vintage Lilly Pulitzer dresses and prints are very, very rare, and you can get a lot of money for them. I paid $4.89 for this. We originally listed close to $100, and we're just accepting offers to see, what the market would bring. And it has sat for a while. I ended up accepting an offer of $60 for it. Because like I said, it's been sitting for a while. It's had a lot of interest, but it hasn't sold. That tells me I've got a price too high, so I'm willing to accept a lower offer. Still a great return on investment. But if you're willing to wait longer, you probably could get closer to the $100 for these. How to show figs, because it is still a very consistent seller. Both on Poshmark and eBay, surprisingly. And this is a scrubs brand that performs really well. I can usually only get about $25 for them, but it's like all day long. $25, super quick flips. So I wanted to share this with you guys. If you're not familiar with figs, these were called the Zamora joggers, and I got $25 for them on Poshmark, and I paid just over $5. And lastly, I felt like I haven't showed my girl Knox Rose in a while, and I felt like she just needed some love. So I'm going to end the video here. This is a Knox Rose. It's like a little cardigan kimono kind of thing. Top, not really a sweater, but also not really a top. And I just wanted to show it because it's been a while since we talked about Knox Rose, but this brand is still a really good bread and butter for us. We do try to stick to larger sizes and more substantial pieces. This one was definitely borderline, but just had that look to it. And it sold for $25 on Poshmark. We only paid $2.50 for it. Alright guys, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you're not ready and you would like to be, don't forget to subscribe down below, hit that notification bell, and if you would, give me a thumbs up if you like these kind of videos. All that stuff really helps the YouTube algorithm, and if you are a reseller, we all know how the algorithms work, right? That's all I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.